Hi, it's me, Spiky-Eared, and today I'm going to talk about a potential Metroid Prime Hunters tier list. I know what you're thinking, but Spiky-Eared, that game is old. Well, it is, but I like to be a behind the timeser sometimes, and there really aren't very many good tier lists out there, so why not? Get it? Because why not is a Pokemon? Never mind. Let's go. Firstly, I'll explain Metroid Prime Hunters in a nutshell to all you people who haven't played it, but still watch this video for some reason. Metroid Prime Hunters is a first-person shooter where you pretty much shoot people. There are 7 different characters called Hunters, and each one has his or her own special abilities and weapons. The Hunters are Samus, because what Metroid game doesn't have Samus? Oh yeah, that one. Spire, a Diamond and the last of his species. Candid, an Enoma who was experimented on in a sinister laboratory. Silex, a mysterious character who hates Samus for no particular reason. Trace, a Kraken who is searching for a planet to conquer. Noxus, who is really the only good guy in the game despite the fact that he tries to kill Samus. And Weevil, a space pirate who may or may not be General Grievous. I know this cast of characters is kind of hard to remember, but stick with me a little bit. Let's talk about the problem with tiers. A tier list implies that one character is better than another, but really, a good character who's playing as a character thought to be bad can destroy a bad player playing as the best character in the game, similar to Smash Brothers. And really any other fighting game in general. Metroid Prime Hunters has even more problems, though. Firstly, there are the stages. In Metroid Prime Hunters, you can play on about 27 different stages. Each one is different, and some favor some hunters more than others. For example, Spire is immune to lava, and Trace is a good sniper. If they played on Alanos Gateway, you could assume that Spire could win because he is immune to the lava that is everywhere on that map. But if you were playing on Harvester or a similar map, Trace might win because there are so many good sniper posts. Also, there are power-ups like Double Damage, Cloak, Death Halt, and Omega Cannon that are ridiculously overpowered, so any map that has one of them is questionable. Luckily, there are some pretty neutral maps, like Battle Hall, where the map is so small there's not really any overpowered abilities you could use, nor are there overpowered power-ups. Okay, so we could just play on Battle Hall or a similar map. What's the problem now? Well, now it's down to the affinity weapons. The affinity weapons are the special weapons that each hunter can use. But these weapons can also be picked up by any other player, who can then use the weapons of the other hunters against you. There are, however, 3 remedies to this to make a tier list. You could either assume that each hunter has only his or her own affinity weapon, or you could assume that he or she has all the affinity weapons. Or you could just assume he or she has none of his or her affinity weapons. For my tier list, I'll go with option 1. Each hunter has only his or her own affinity weapons. Okay, we've got the stages and the weapons. What could be left? Glitches. The answer is glitches. Unfortunately, Metroid Prime Hunters is a game of many glitches. Most just let you hide in rocks or walls and shoot your opponents without being able to be shot yourself. Generally, the ability to do this isn't calculated into tier lists, so I won't put it into mine either. There is, however, a glitch involving one of the hunters. The Shadow Freeze glitch can be seen when Noxus charges his affinity weapon, the Judicator, and fires it slightly downwards and towards an opponent with a similar elevation. This has incredible range and will freeze the opponent solid, preventing him or her from moving for a short period of time. Now, assuming Noxus had all the affinity weapons, this is incredibly powerful, because you can then switch to Trace's weapon, the Imperialist, and headshot them, which immediately kills them. However, because I've decided to make my tier list based on the fact that each hunter only has their own weapon, Shadow Freezing isn't as good. So, one question remains about Shadow Freezing. Should it be calculated onto the tier list? I'm going to say no. Mostly because it's incredibly difficult to do, and it's officially considered a glitch. Alright, we got stages, weapons, and glitches down. All good? Nope. Now we're going to talk about what makes a hunter good. Next are alt forms. Alt forms are a crucial component to the game. Each character can change into an alt form, which are generally faster and harder to hit, but cannot shoot. Instead, they use bombs, blades, or spikes to damage opponents. Some alt forms are very good in close combat situations, whereas others aren't. The point is, each alt form is different. Different size, different speed, different attack, and so on. Generally, a hunter's alt form is good if it is fast, has a good attack, and can scare opponents away. I'll talk more about the different alt forms later. Good, so now we've got alt forms down. So next are the affinity weapons. Again. Technically, there are 6 different affinity weapons that can be found lying around in various places on the map, power-up style. There's also a special power-up that, oddly enough, is called the affinity weapon, that gives a hunter his or her a specific weapon. Samus just gets more missiles, which each hunter also has. However, since I'm doing my tier list based on each hunter having only his or her own affinity weapon, and no others, I'll talk about the affinity weapons later. Finally, we're going to talk about the hunter physique. In Metroid Prime Hunters, speed and size are very important, particularly head size. For example, Camden has the biggest head, whereas Noxus has a rather small one, making it easy to get a headshot and more damage on Camden, but harder on Noxus. Speed is important too. A slow hunter like Spire is going to have a hard time escaping from a faster hunter like Silex or Samus, therefore making him worse against the two. However, a fast character is going to be able to escape the battles easier and restock on energy safely. Finally, I heard somewhere that the body color of your hunter matters too. I'm not sure why, but apparently if your color is similar to the background, it makes you harder to see, and therefore harder to shoot. This is actually not very true, because you can pretty much always see the opposing hunters as long as they're in your line of sight, despite their coloration, except for Trace, who can turn invisible. I probably won't consider coloration a factor in my tier list. I think it might actually be time to start talking about the hunters. Well, not in this video anyways. You can go ahead and watch the video about the actual tier list now. I guess I'll see you there. This is Spiky-Eared Yumi, saying goodbye.